He was 72 when it happened. Retired, living alone, trying to hold on to the last bit of pleasure life could offer. That night, he did what he'd done countless times before. Just a moment of release, a habit he thought was harmless. But something went wrong. The next morning, he was found lifeless in bed. No violence, no signs of illness, just a man whose body couldn't handle what his mind thought was normal. I'm Dr. James, a men's health specialist with over 30 years of clinical experience treating aging men. And I'm telling you this because the most dangerous health risks for older men aren't always what you think. It's not just stroke or heart disease. Sometimes it's what happens in the privacy of your bedroom, things no one talks about. The paradox? Something that once gave you power, confidence, and relief might now be silently destroying your circulation, hormone balance, and even your lifespan. But there's hope. If you understand how to adapt your habits after 60, you can reclaim your strength without risk. In a moment, I'll show you the 5 masturbation mistakes silently weakening older men, and the one deadly pattern that could be stealing years from your life without you realizing it. Before we dive into the 5 critical mistakes, there's something you need to understand first. These aren't just casual slip-ups or harmless habits, they carry a cost. And for men over 60, that cost can be far more serious than you realize. The truth is, your body has changed. The way you masturbate may no longer match what your aging heart, nerves, and hormones can safely handle. What once felt like relief can now slowly turn into strain, inflammation, and long-term breakdown. So before we get into the specific mistakes, let me show you what's really at stake, because unless you know the price, you won't see the danger. You may still think it's harmless, a private act, a way to unwind, to stay connected to your body. But after 60, simple habits turn risky. Your blood vessels are stiffer, your prostate more reactive, your heart less forgiving. Yet most men keep doing what they did in their 30s, without realizing that every poorly timed session, every forced climax, every careless repetition is quietly draining the life out of them. At first, it's subtle. Fatigue, a fading erection, that lingering soreness in the lower body. But then the damage grows. Pelvic congestion, nerve inflammation, rising blood pressure, chronic prostate swelling. You start waking at night to urinate, your desire fades, you sleep lighter, your confidence drops, and no one ever told you it could all be linked back to this. I've watched men in their 70s sit across from me, ashamed and defeated, because they didn't know. Because no one warned them that the habits they trusted were slowly silencing their manhood from the inside out. And this isn't just physical damage. It affects your pride, your mood, your ability to feel alive. These mistakes won't stop your heart tomorrow, but they will make you feel like you've already lost something vital. And it all starts with the first mistake, one most men make every morning without a second thought. Mistake 1. Masturbating, right after waking up or when blood pressure is high. I've seen this mistake countless times in my practice. It's quiet, it seems innocent, and yet, it's one of the most dangerous habits a man over 60 can have. Masturbating first thing in the morning might have felt energizing when you were younger, but at this age, your body isn't waking up with the same strength. Your blood pressure is naturally higher in the early hours, and your cardiovascular system is more vulnerable than it used to be. When you stimulate yourself during this fragile window, before your heart has fully settled, before your circulation has balanced out, you're putting enormous strain on a system that no longer recovers as fast. I had a patient, 68 years old, who would wake up every day and start his morning with what he called his routine release. He thought it kept him sharp and calm. But over time, he began experiencing lightheadedness, tightness in his chest, and fatigue that lasted the whole day. At first, he thought it was just aging, but the truth hit him hard when we traced the symptoms back to his morning habit. His body simply couldn't handle the surge anymore. It wasn't about the act, it was about the timing. And I understand, for many older men, the morning is when privacy and arousal naturally align. But that doesn't mean it's safe. Not when your heart, your blood pressure, and your nervous system are all trying to stabilize from sleep. The risk isn't in the release, it's in forcing your body into arousal when it's not yet ready to handle the load. There's a better way, a safer time, but we'll get to that. First, let's talk about another mistake that may surprise you even more. One that doesn't happen in the morning, but deep into the act itself, and it's quietly causing long-term harm without you even realizing it. If you've made it this far and these truths are hitting home, type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still here and ready to take control of your health. Now let's keep going with the next important insight. Mistake 2, trying to hold back or edge for too long. This one is more common than most men admit. They don't talk about it, but they do it. They try to stretch out the experience, to hold back, to hover near the edge of climax, thinking that more time means more pleasure, more control, maybe even more youth. I understand that urge, I really do. When everything in life feels like it's speeding up or slipping away, slowing down a moment of intimacy feels like taking something back. But after 60, your body doesn't play by the same rules anymore. What you think is control may actually be creating chaos in your lower body, pressurizing your pelvic nerves, congesting your prostate, and building tension where there should be release. I remember one man, 71, who came to me with ongoing pelvic pain and strange pressure sensations after each session. He'd been practicing edging for years, thinking he was keeping himself disciplined, but inside, his tissues were inflamed, his prostate was swollen, his nerves were firing in confusion. What he thought was strength was actually resistance, his body begging for rest, not more strain. When you edge too long, you interrupt your body's natural rhythm. You keep the nervous system on high alert. You push blood into areas that can't drain properly. And over time, this leads to fatigue, erectile instability, and even chronic pelvic pain syndrome. Your body starts treating pleasure like a threat, not a gift. It forgets how to relax. It forgets how to let go. There's nothing wrong with wanting to enjoy the moment, but there's a fine line between savoring and overstressing, and most men cross it without realizing the cost. Now, if this mistake surprised you, wait until you hear the next one, because it's not about what you do, but when you do it, and that timing could be setting your health back months without you even noticing. Mistake 3, masturbating when tired, sick, or after heavy meals. It might seem harmless. You're lying down, feeling a bit off, maybe after a long day or a heavy dinner, and you think a little release might help you sleep or ease the stress. But at this stage of life, that simple decision can come with a cost your younger self never had to worry about. Your body isn't just older, it's more delicate, more reactive, and less forgiving when it's already under strain. Masturbating when your system is depleted, whether from fatigue, illness, or digestion, adds one more burden onto a body that's already trying to recover. And the truth is, it can quietly wear you down over time. I remember one gentleman, age 74, who told me he often used masturbation to help him fall asleep when he was feeling weak or bloated. But over the years, he began to feel more drained afterward, not better. His heart would race. He'd wake up several times in the night. He thought something was wrong with his age or diet, but the real problem was timing. He was forcing his body to do something demanding when it was already asking for rest. When you're tired, your nervous system is already in a state of imbalance. When you're sick, your immune system is fighting to protect you. And after a large meal, your circulation is focused on digestion, not stimulation. So when you masturbate in these states, you're pulling energy away from recovery and redirecting it to a process your body isn't ready for. It may not hurt you right away, but the cumulative stress on your heart, your hormones, your pelvic floor adds up, slowly weakening your vitality from within. And if you think that's a quiet danger, just wait until you hear about the next mistake, because this one isn't about how you feel. It's about how often you push your body past its limits without even realizing it. If you're still watching and these insights are opening your eyes, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me, because what comes next might be the most important mistake of all. Mistake 4, masturbating too frequently, daily or multiple times per day. This one is tough to talk about because it touches something deeply personal. For many older men, masturbation becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a coping mechanism, a way to deal with loneliness, stress, boredom, or just to feel something familiar again. And in a world where your body is changing, your relationships may feel distant, and your sense of control is slipping. It's easy to fall into the pattern of doing it every day, or even more than once a day. But I need to be honest with you. After 60, your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. What feels like comfort in the moment could be draining your energy, weakening your hormones, and pulling you deeper into fatigue than you realize. I once had a patient, 67, who came in exhausted, mentally foggy, struggling with low mood, low libido, and muscle loss. He was embarrassed to tell me, but eventually admitted he masturbated 2 or 3 times a day. He said it helped him cope, but his body was showing signs of depletion, low testosterone, adrenal fatigue, and early signs of erectile dysfunction. The same act that once gave him relief had turned into a cycle of exhaustion. His system was constantly firing dopamine, adrenaline, and stress hormones without the chance to reset. His nervous system was stuck in overdrive, and he didn't even realize it. Overstimulation doesn't always feel intense. Sometimes it feels normal, until one day you wake up and wonder why everything feels a little more difficult, a little more distant, a little less alive. Masturbating too often may seem like a private indulgence, but over time, it's like a slow leak in your vitality, one that's hard to notice until the damage is done. And if you think frequency is the only issue, think again. The final mistake might be the most overlooked of all, and it has everything to do with how your body is positioned in those private moments. Mistake 5. Using the wrong posture. Lying on your stomach, sitting hunched, or applying too much pressure. This is one of those mistakes that seems minor until it isn't. Most men never think twice about the position they're in during those private moments. It's something we've done the same way for years, sometimes decades. But after 60, the way you position your body during masturbation matters more than ever. The wrong posture can silently compress nerves, restrict blood flow, and create tension in areas that are already more vulnerable with age. I've seen men suffer from numbness, tingling, loss of sensitivity, even pelvic pain, simply because they were lying face down, sitting for too long, or using too much pressure without realizing the consequences. I remember one man in his early 70s who came to me complaining of a dull ache in his lower back and a strange, tingling sensation down his leg. He'd been to chiropractors, taken pain relievers, tried stretching, nothing worked. Eventually, in a quiet conversation, he admitted he often masturbated lying on his stomach, pressing hard into the mattress for stimulation. It had never been a problem before, but now his body couldn't handle the compression. His pelvic floor was strained, his circulation restricted, and his nerves were protesting after years of being ignored. The solution wasn't a pill, it was awareness, gentle adjustments. Less pressure, more care. When you sit hunched or apply constant downward force, you're not just risking discomfort, you're training your body to respond to tension instead of pleasure. Over time, that pattern can dull your sensitivity, weaken your arousal response, and make real intimacy feel awkward or numb. It's not about shame, it's about self-respect, about learning how to treat your body with the patience and gentleness it needs now. So if you've seen yourself in any of these mistakes, don't worry, because now it's time to shift. You've seen what not to do, but what does safe, healthy, age-appropriate self-pleasure really look like after 60? Let me show you. What you should do instead. After hearing all these warnings, you might feel overwhelmed, maybe even a little ashamed. Please don't. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. You're not broken. You're aging. And that means your body deserves a different kind of attention, one rooted in care rather than habit. The good news is, you can still enjoy yourself. Pleasure doesn't have to disappear with age. It just needs to evolve. You simply have to approach it with more respect, more patience, and more understanding of what your body needs now. Start by slowing down. Choose a time when your body is rested, not right after waking up, not when you're tired or full, but when you're calm, relaxed, and emotionally at ease. Give yourself permission to breathe deeply. Don't rush, don't force, and don't grip tightly. Focus on sensation rather than performance. Let pleasure rise naturally, and let it go when your body is ready, not when your mind demands it. A couple of times a week is more than enough for most men over 60. If you're recovering, fatigued, or healing, once a week, or even less, might be exactly what your body needs. Pay attention to posture. Avoid lying on your stomach or hunching over. Instead, find a position that supports your spine and keeps pressure off your pelvic nerves. And finally, if you've relied on porn for decades, now may be the time to let it go. It desensitizes you, rewires your brain, and replaces real connection with artificial noise. Your mind and your body deserve better. It's not about giving something up. It's about learning how to hold on to it without hurting yourself in the process. And the men who understand that, they don't just preserve their health, they protect their dignity, their confidence, and their manhood. But if you're still wondering what happens if you ignore all this advice, then stay with me, because in the conclusion, I'll show you exactly what's at stake. Final warning, the choice is yours now. By now, you've seen the truth most men never hear until it's too late. The small, seemingly harmless habits you've carried for decades can slowly chip away at your strength, your confidence, and your ability to feel alive in your own body. And it's not because you've done something wrong. It's because no one ever told you how things change after 60, how your heart, your nerves, your hormones, and your energy all become more delicate, more reactive, more deserving of care. You've learned that timing matters, that masturbating right after waking up, when your blood pressure is high, can put your heart at risk. That trying to hold back for too long may feel powerful, but creates pressure that your prostate can no longer handle. That doing it when you're exhausted or bloated takes energy your body desperately needs to heal. That doing it too often quietly drains your vitality. And that posture, the way you treat your body in those private moments, can leave lasting tension or numbness if ignored. But most importantly, you've seen that it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to give up pleasure, you just have to choose to approach it differently, with intention, with respect, and with the wisdom you've earned through age. That's not weakness, that's strength. I've worked with hundreds of men who turned their health around simply by becoming more mindful of what once felt automatic. You can be one of them. You can still feel good, still feel like a man, and still live with clarity and control, if you're willing to let go of the habits that no longer serve you. The next move is yours. But remember this, the most dangerous mistake isn't any of the 5 I've shared. It's ignoring them and pretending they don't apply to you. Don't let that be the one you regret. If this message spoke to you, don't just scroll away. Take a moment to comment, "I'm making the change" below. Share this video with another man who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another truth that could protect your health, your confidence, and your manhood. Your future self will thank you, starting right now.